Sexual depravity and sadism found a welcome quill amongst the writings of the Marquis de Sade. Debatably, no man has ever suffered more to pursue obsessive sexual perversity. His reputation and appetite for debauchery appeared insatiable. His era during the corrupt reign of Louis XV was an ideal accompaniment. He was born on June 2, 1740, in the Conde mansion, since destroyed, to the Count and Countess de Sade. Their titles were legitimate and long-standing. He was christened by accident with the name Donatien Alphonse Francois, instead of the intended first name Louis. His parents and godparents were absent for his baptismal the day following his birth at Saint-Sulpice Church. Instead, two appointed members of the household replaced them. Sade enjoyed a conventional upbringing, married, but by 23 began experimenting with prostitutes along Paris's notorious Rue Mouffetard. He inherited his father's estates and rank upon his death at the age of 27. He would continue a predictable pattern of recruiting sex partners, plunging into debt, and impregnating his wife. They would have 4 children together, but he spent little time with his family. His descent into sadistic sexual practices kept him frequently in prison and in legal disputes. He experimented with creating literature and even comedic theater in Marseille. He became known for his erotic writings depicting sexual fantasies with an emphasis on violence. His work stressed absolute freedom, unrestrained by conventional morality, religion, or law. Many were published anonymously. During a brief stretch of freedom, he was elected to the French National Convention in 1790. He would be imprisoned in the Bastille shortly before its destruction. Napoleon Bonaparte was disgusted by Sade's writings. He had him arrested and declared insane. By then, Sade was in a pitiful state, broke and divorced. His ex-wife and children had agreed to pay his pension. In 1803, he was transferred to the Sheraton Asylum. 6 years later, Sade would be placed in solitary confinement and deprived of his pens and papers. He died incarcerated on December 2, 1814, at the age of 74. His birthplace and the majority of his Paris residences have since been destroyed. His writings, once considered unpublishable, resurfaced and were re-examined as censorship laws became relaxed. The sexual revolution of the 1960s made Sade's work even more accessible and acceptable in some libertine quarters. He remains a divisive figure of both fascination and revulsion.